I heard you talking about huge people. I assumed you were talking about Gabe for a minute, but I do want to ask you.
He's about as big as they come.
I do want to ask you about Gabe. Like, what have you seen from him since you got here? Obviously, such an expedited spring for you over the summer and now.
He's been working. He's been working, man. Really, really pleased. I just saw him on my way up here, and I told him I appreciate the work, the leadership role. Man, he's so imposing. He's a big, physical guy, but he's turned himself into a dependable guy as far as how he comes to work every day. So I'm appreciative of Gabe.
How do you enhance his game so it's not just he's a big guy who only relies on power? I'd assume you probably need a couple things in your bag, even as big and strong as he is.
Yeah.
So how do you round that out?
Yeah, I think that's the deceptive thing about Gabe. When you do see him, because he's so imposing, you think this guy is strictly power. But I think we've been able to develop some other tools as far as his pass rush game. He's able to get skinny, get in creases, and show some of that elusiveness that you may not see with a guy of that stature. So I think he's impressive, man. I'm pleased with where he's at. He's not a finished product, but he's just going to keep working until he reaches his ultimate goal, which is playing on the big stage.
And then obviously Seth is so different, right? So how do those two complement one another on both sides of the
Yeah. I mean, Seth is unique as far as his skill set as well. I mean, he's long, he's lean. He's got a great first step. He's got good arm length, okay? And he's playing exceptionally well thus far in camp, too, man. So they're kind of opposites in a sense where you look at Seth and you think, hey, look, this is a guy who just works off edges and works speed, but Seth demonstrates some power as well. You know, we've been able to get his pad level down. He's been playing with a lot more force and extension, and just like Gabe, man, he's bought in and he's kind of demonstrating a leadership role as well.
Might be a dumb question, but when you're a coach here and you have two guys who are as accomplished and experienced as them as kind of the top of your room, like how does that help you just in terms of managing your position?
Yeah, man, you know what? It makes me a better coach, I guess, man. They're both super talented, you know, and they're super gifted. What I appreciate is I have the ability to challenge those guys and they respond. You know, like you said, man, I came in spring and everything was relatively new and I was trying to figure it out and build relationships. Thus far, I think we're on day 8. I've challenged those guys in a bunch of different ways to be better and they've absorbed it. You know, so credit to them for being able to take the coaching and just continue to get better. And I couldn't find a better group of guys to be able to want to work with.
Alec is a guy we've heard is like a quote third starter type of role. So where does he fit into this conversation?
Man, Alec is super valuable, not only to that room, but to our team. Alec plays both positions. He's a swing guy. He's reliable. He's dependable. So he's growing into that role as well. And man, I have a lot of trust in what he does, man. And we're fortunate to have him. If he was on another team, he'd be, you know, the primary starter.
Yeah.
But because we have this three-headed monster of these talented guys, we're able to rotate and get them in and let them be as effective as possible.
Is there anything Alec has done since you've been here to help, like in particular that comes to mind, like to cultivate that trust? And you just got to think outside. A lot of people see those two, right? But like, what has he done? Is there a story or anything that you can think of?
You know what? I'll say this, man. We have a 2 outside backer system. Typically, at any given moment, you have 2 outside backers on the field. And Alec has gone from the backer to the field to the backer to the boundary with minimal mistakes. And there's no drop off as far as play when he's in the game. So, you know, in regards to dependability, like those are some of the things that I'm looking for as far as a guy, hey, if I put you in here in this situation, can you elevate the performance? Can you maintain the performance? And like I said, there's no drop off with him. So he's built more trust with me in that regard.
Barn is a guy that Gabe said reminds him of him when he was a freshman. It sounds like he had a good spring. So what's been important for his development?
Yeah, man. Sometimes you forget he's such a young guy, right? He's been here a month longer than I have, you know? So all of this stuff is super new for him as well. But, man, boy, is he tough. Boy, is he physical, right? And every day he shows you why he can help this team. You know, he's still learning as all young guys are. But, man, I thought today we just left the field, and I thought he had one of his better practices. I put him in that swing whirl that I put Alec in, and he managed it pretty well, man. So I'm excited for his upside. I think he has an opportunity to be really, really special.
When you're talking about a young guy with the potential to help someone like as a freshman, potential to help you, like what's important for you to not overwhelm him just given how much is being thrown at him?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. I think it's based upon how well he can execute the defense, right? You give him the base understanding of the defenses, and if he's able to execute it, then you challenge him and give him some more pieces. And because of a couple guys going down here and there, he's been able to do that, man. So we'll keep challenging him. From what he showed me, he'll keep responding, and we'll keep getting better as a unit.
Archie said like JoJo and Daniel are kind of swing guys between the two rooms for you. So how do you guys balance that and make sure they're, I guess, staying up to speed in both worlds?
Yeah, Coach stresses communication from the players, and then obviously as a staff, we got to do a good job communicating. And Coach Mack has been gracious enough just to say, hey, look, man, let him be in your room, or this week he needs to be in my room. So we work it and we manage it. But Danny, JoJo, they add a different dynamic. Stature-wise, they're not quite some of those other guys. But, man, as far as get-off, burst, movement skills, they offer a different skill set. So I think they'll add value, not only on special teams, but on defense as well.
What do you like about that versatility for guys who can do that?
Oh, I love it. I love it, man. They can move, change direction, and they're tough-minded guys. Like, they're really, really tough-minded guys. You put them in the trenches, even though they're not as big, okay, you don't see them shy away. Like, JoJo was down in the trenches, and he mixing it up with some of those big boys, man. And he puts his hands on guys, and, he wins some and he loses some, but he's always coming back. Danny's the same way. So when you got guys who are tough, obviously they're smart, those are the guys that you want to build a defense with, and I think we got a lot of those guys.
What's your first fall camp been like here in the new job and getting used to the new team?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. There's some adjusting, obviously, but it's been good, man. I said to my wife the other day, at this point in the fall, man, I'm so much more equipped than I was in the spring. And I think it's just being around the guys, kind of understanding how we do things, and then being able to adjust and then, implement confidence into my group as far as me knowing what I'm doing and just trying to help them be better players.
I've heard other assistants talk about Coach B in the way he run things and kind of learning from him in that sense. Have you been able to learn a few things from him? What's your relationship been like so far?
A ton, man. I think our staff meetings are so valuable because if you're listening to what he's saying, he's teaching you how to be a head coach. And I think Coach does a phenomenal job. Obviously, he educates the players on how things need to be, but even us as coaches, he's educating us so that way we can educate them, and then at the same time we're all growing and learning. So a lot of my growth comes from being in that room and just hearing Coach talk.
I guess when you took the job, just how intrigued were you by the chance to work with Seth and Gabe, maybe those guys being at the top of the depth chart?
Yeah, you know what? I didn't know about them. When I got here and I did my research, I started to figure out, okay, these guys are some real dudes. And then, as I cultivate the relationship and kind of watch them practice, I'm like, man, am I fortunate to be around them. So they're good players. The goal for us as a unit is to get them to be as good as they can be or as great as they want to be. And I think thus far that's what they've done. And I've been able to implement some things, and I think they've responded to it. And I'm excited to see where we come when the bullets really start flying.
Seth at Big Media has talked about, because he's had 5 different position coaches at this point in his career, but just he's taken a little something from everybody. What do you feel like maybe you've been able to give him just in, I guess?
Yeah, man, I think in this day and age, man, everybody wants to rush the passer, right? Like in the NFL, it's a passing league. Those guys get paid off of rushing the passer. And I think Seth has a unique skill set to do that. Obviously he was super productive last year. I think for us as a group, and him in particular, we focused on being as dominant in the run game as he is in the pass game. So now when people look at Seth Coleman, they're not going to just say, hey, look, this is a guy who rushes off the edge. No, this is a guy who plays on the tight end and dominates the tight end. This is a guy you can drop into coverage, okay, and he's good in coverage. Okay, this is a guy who can rush the passer, okay, and create mismatches. Seth can be a complete player, and I think thus far, where we are in camp, he's showing that. So I think that's his ultimate goal, and my goal to help him do that.
Been the conversations with him just to maybe maximize consistency? I know that's something he talked about. Maybe you two have had some early conversations about. So how do you hone consistency?
Man, you try to create a standard and challenge him to uphold that standard daily, right? You know, good day or bad day, the same principles of who we are come in and day out. Okay, so, you know, as best I can, I'll reiterate those things in the meeting room, try to show examples of what they look like when they're good, and then be able to coach them when they're not so good. Okay, so there's no gray hair as far as what we expect in the room. I think they understand it. They can coach themselves up as far as what they see on film, what looks good and maybe not as good. And ultimately the goal is just to get better.
I know Brett obviously took Gabe to Big Ten Media Day and kind of said, hey, if he does what he thinks he does, you know, this might be it for him. So what's the balance of maybe pumping confidence in him, but not putting the weight of the world of a huge season?
Yeah, I think it could be a challenge, right? Like I played, college ball, I'm 38, however many years that was, 15 years, whatever it is. But like, it wasn't this big, like social media, you know, all of this access for these players. And I know they all check it. I know they all look at it, man. But for that kid in particular, like if he has a great year, and he has the opportunity to play on the next stage and get drafted, by all means, man, do what you need to do. But what I've appreciated thus far, man, he's just trying to stack days. You know, he had a good day today. We're going to watch the film. He's going to try to have a better day tomorrow and a better day after that, all the way until our first game of the season. And then at the end of the season, wherever he's at, there's going to be decisions that have to be made. And, you know, he makes those decisions. I don't want to lose him, okay, but by no means, man, if his path is to be somewhere else in the NFL, by all means, man, I'll do everything I can to try to help facilitate that.